Today, Destiny 2's second year expansion called Forsaken was officially revealed. It is hard not to be excited after what was shown, considering what was shown, but let's get all of those details out first. If you're just looking for my thoughts on this, head to the time shown on the screen. We are not going to be doing any crazy frame-by-frame analysis in this video. We're just going to go over the features. Maybe we'll do that another time. Forsaken will be taking us back to the Reef area on a new destination called the Tangled Shore, which is this sort of lawless, I don't want to say abandoned, maybe desolate is the right word for it, place, featuring what looked like fallen variants of enemies, the Scorn and the Barons. The overarching story of Forsaken, and I'll give you a sec to mute if you do not want to hear this, it's not anything crazy, okay, is that Cade has been keeping a lot of prisoners in this location, and there has been a jailbreak. That's the gist of it. Not much else was really said. We'll learn more about it later. There were two goals for the Forsaken expansion. Number one, to kick off the year with a new story and a new tone, a seemingly more serious tone. And two, to reinforce the Destiny hobby and bring depth back to the game in many ways. Okay, you have my attention. I like depth. As for the new stuff, new weapon system, random rolls are back, new masterwork style system, new supers, bow and arrow. Slow it down. Slow. The new weapon system is Bungie's answer to the boring two primary system we have now, where in September, if you want a shotgun in your energy slot, go for it. In fact, if you want shotguns in all three slots, go for it. Double sniper, do that. They are opening up the weapon slots to let people do almost whatever they want. I imagine there will be some limitations. I can't picture people being able to use 2 or 3 rocket launchers, for example. I assume any exotics will probably stay in the position that they were originally in. We're not sure how the ammo economy is going to work just yet, which is easily my biggest concern, especially for PvP. So we need a bit more info on how all that's going to work together. But almost anything is better than the two primary system we have going right now. Random rolls are coming back. Not much else was really given on this other than that they're coming back. They want to make every piece of loot potentially very exciting to get, much like Destiny 1, so random rolls are coming back. The mod system is getting adjusted, but again, not much else was really given on this topic. A new Masterwork style system is coming with September, something that will put investment back onto weapons. I think I heard the phrase, quote, move your levels up over time, end quote. But again, this feature was only really mentioned in passing. New supers. Okay, this is something that they did actually show. Sunbreaker gets a big old hammer to swing around. Gunslinger gets this fire knife spinning thing, which looks kind of cool. Voidwalker gets a more close and personal super, being able to teleport around really fast and do this close range, what looks like an AoE attack. I saw an Arcstrider spinning their staff in there somewhere. Stormcaller has this big laser beam attack. And I think I saw Striker Titan doing some spin thing as well. Although I did also see a Titan do a death from above style slam attack, so it could be that too. I don't think these are new supers from new subclasses, but rather they're way more likely to be new subclass branches in currently existing subclasses. Sunbreaker getting a big hammer is kind of a giveaway. I can't imagine a new solar subclass for Titan that also revolves around a hammer, but what do I know? Every subclass, every single subclass is getting a new super. There's a new weapon as well, the bow and arrow, which seems weird because why would you use a bow and arrow when there's so many guns? Well, because they're fun, probably. I don't know what it is about bows in video games. They're always fun to use. So hopefully Bungie nailed the gameplay aspect for the bow. I don't expect them not to, as the gunplay in this game, the actual moving and aiming and shooting of your weapons, is outstanding and has been since the game has launched. So I am confident that these will be very fun. Whether or not they're good or not is another story. The new mode, this is the one that I got to play at the Community Summit, is called Gambit. That is all I'm allowed to say about my experience playing Gambit. Just the name, and then I played it. But Gambit will be at E3 and at GuardianCon in Tampa, Florida. And the first day of E3 is when I'll be able to give more of a hot take on my personal experience playing Gambit. That being said, we can still talk about how it works. Gambit is a PvEVP game mode where 2 teams of 4 will compete against each other in a race to see who can kill their primeval boss first. You'll be killing enemies in the arena, which will drop motes that you can collect and then put into your bank. If you bank enough motes at once, you can summon enemies that block the enemy team from doing things. Then, when you put in enough motes, you'll summon your primeval boss, which you need to kill. So, where's the PvP then? Well, during the match, you'll have the opportunities to invade the enemy's zone to try to kill them to slow them down. The first team to kill their boss wins the round or match. I don't know if they mentioned if it's rounds or matches or what. This will be its own mode that you can select in the directory. You don't need to just hope that you get this while playing Crucible, although I don't think you can get it while playing Crucible. I think you have to pick one or the other. Either way, that's good. Next is the Dreaming City, which is where the new raid will be taking place. Bungie wanted to get back to the grand adventure and killing big bosses and big bad guys. They say that this has the most amount of bosses that they've ever had in a raid before, although I don't know if that means actual physical bosses or if they mean total encounters. Bungie can have a very confusing dialect that I'm not quite proficient in all the time, that I'm sure many of you are aware of. But the Dreaming City is not only the raid, but is also an explorable area with other secrets and things to discover, and will be evolving and changing over time, especially as you play it. This is the first time that they've done something like this, having a full zone be the raid setting, at least in the way that I'm kind of imagining it. It is a beautiful looking zone from the images that we've gotten. Kind of reminds me of like Night Elf zones in World of Warcraft, like a spooky Moonglade or something like that. Really, really cool looking. Something coming for all players in September are the Triumphs and Collections tab. There's one Triumph and then one Collection. The Triumphs tab is essentially what the Moments of Triumph book was back in Destiny 1, except it's just there all the time now. They are in-game achievements for what seems like everything in the game. Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit, lore, stuff like that. The Collections tab is the kiosk system with the dial turned up to 11 and is always accessible because it's directly in your menus. Exotics, vehicles, armor sets, weapons, ghosts, all of that stuff, while probably not retroactive, will be tracked by the game, and I assume you'll be able to pull out those items at any time. Certain items, an example that they gave was Iron Banner armor, will tell you how to get those items directly, but exotics will not be revealed, and a bunch of other things that are maybe not exotic will also not have any clues either. But now we gotta talk business. With the annual pass, while Bungie hasn't spoken pricing for anything in an official manner, prices are listed on the PlayStation Store and I believe the Blizzard Store as well, so that's what I'm going off of. The price of the expansion will be $40 or regional equivalent, like the Taken King was. Bungie announced the annual pass as well, which at the moment looks like it's $30, which is in line with previous releases. Now, what you're seeing on screen basically looks like every single PowerPoint slide you've ever seen for every previous Destiny expansion. New endgame stuff, weapons, armor, vanity items, exotics, triumphs, lore story, whatever. There are 3 updates planned. The Black Armory for Winter 2018, Joker's Wild for Spring 2019, and Penumbra for Summer 2019. Most will equate these to Curse of Osiris and Warmind expansions and the Solstice of Heroes event, which is coming in July. But I can't talk to how accurate that is until these events are actually discussed more or just released. I don't know the scope of these updates. No one does. But my guess is that they would be somewhat close to the previous releases that we've gotten. So what it seems like Bungie is trying to do, at least in part, is avoid the situation we had this year with expansions. What happened this year? When Curse of Osiris launched, it broke a bunch of stuff. Certain players couldn't do XYZ. We had to break up the player base for PvP with the Osiris maps, etc., etc. It was a big mess. Warmind came in and cleaned up a little bit of that mess, but now we have a situation where maybe you only have Warmind, but your friend only has Curse of Osiris, so you're not sure what you can and can't play together, and then that makes grouping up harder with the other people because I have this, but not that, and then you don't have that, but then you two have this, so it just gets really annoying. Introduce the annual pass, which is just an all or nothing. You either have the pass or you don't have the pass. It'll unlock all of the content updates for the entire year. Now, non-pass owners, I imagine, will continue to get certain updates to the game that are just blanket to everybody. Sandbox tuning, to name an example. Each content update will mark a new season as well. I fear for my life if I give my thoughts on this, because a lot of people think that this should be free. A lot of people think that Forsaken itself should be free. A lot of people think that because the game is not in a good spot right now, that everything should be free. I am not one of those people, so take that as you will. I think that's the current hot take, is that game is bad, fixes cost money, The annual pass is cheaper than year one's season pass as well. It's not by much, but it is cheaper. It's about $10 per release. I think a lot of the fear is that people are just seeing $70 for a game, lol, and that's not exactly the case, but again, take that as you will. If you don't like it, don't buy it. That's all I can really tell you. One thing that I do find annoying is that you need to own both DLC 1 and DLC 2, that's Curse of Osiris and Warmind expansions, in order to play Forsaken. That is bullshit. I'm sure there's some reason as to why, but making people get Curse of Osiris to play Forsaken, that's stupid. Please offer Curse of Osiris in a very heavily discounted way if you're going to make people buy it to play Forsaken. And to reiterate, you don't need to buy both Forsaken and the annual pass at the same time. My guess as to when you need to invest into the pass would be whenever the first big update comes out, which is probably going to be December of 2018. Some non-expansion but still update news. In patch 1.2.3, the Solstice of Heroes is coming on July 17th. We'll be getting 6v6 quick play, a permanent Rumble playlist, bounties, raid lair prestige modes, finally, PC clan text chat, finally, year one triumphs. I assume this is moments of triumph-like kind of situation, and more exotic armor sandbox changes. Patch 2.2.0, which is the Forsaken patch on September 4th. So that's the day after PAX West is over for all of you going to that. Brings a lot of things discussed in this video, plus mass shader deletion, 4 Crucible maps, 200 more vault spaces. I'm not sure if that's attached to Forsaken or not exactly. Power mattering in Iron Banner and Trials, and more. As for my most prestigious, worth their weight in gold, not exaggerating at all, thoughts, neat. Look, we've been through this before. We've been through overhyped and under-delivered content and expansions. So while I am trying to temper my expectations until this is out and completely devoured, it is hard to not be excited for some of these things. Gambit, The Dreaming City, Triumphs and Collections. These all look like really cool things. Look like. Are they? Can't tell right now. Well, Triumphs and Collections, I don't see any reason not to like these at all. Do you? Being able to collect items and actually keep them in an organized menu system, tracking all of your achievements. Having a lore tab, I know, is something people have gone nuts about. It's right there. It exists now, or will soon. Now, granted, these are things that should have been around a long time ago, but I guess I can be happy that they're around now. Everyone wanted random rolls back. Here they are. Hopefully they're done well. Everyone wanted more raid bosses. Yep. They're going to do that too. So, yeah, the community has said, we want this. And Bungie seems to have gotten a lot of those hints. We just need to see how well they execute on those hints and that feedback. The weapon system getting updated and changed to feel more like Destiny 1 at least is great for PvE. But I worry about PvP. Ammo economy in PvP is my number one issue. We all know how year 3 of Destiny 1 PvP ended up, with weapons that were able to abuse ammo systems and economies in PvP being the best weapons just because they could get ammo. That was not that fun. Is this going to recreate that issue? I hope not. We need to learn more about how ammo economy will be affected with these changes, and then we just need to see how it actually ends up playing. We can talk all we want, but it means nothing until the game is in our hands and is fully dissected. The new supers are a breath of fresh air, Taken King's new subclasses equivalent. I was not expecting brand new subclasses at all, at least until we get maybe a new element or something like that. But I don't expect Bungie to make new subclasses for a while. Unfortunately, something else I don't expect for Destiny 2 at all is the breaking up of the subclass blocks. Whether it's a balance issue, a technical issue, your guess is as good as mine, but this is one thing going into the far future that I hope is broken up, especially with the push of trying to have a deeper game experience. But all that being said, the new supers look really fun, and anything to freshen up the game like that is more than welcome. The hottest take in the community right now, as I mentioned earlier, appears to be the price of all of this stuff. People aren't looking at the situation as, okay, it's $40 for the Forsaken expansion and then $30 for everything else during the year. People are looking at the situation as the fixes to this broken-ass game are going to cost me $70 when it should be free or really cheap. I guess I can respect the argument. I don't necessarily believe in it. Does it suck that it costs money? I guess it sucks that things cost money. I was not expecting anything to be free, especially based on the history of this game. And I think anyone who expected things to be completely free is delusional. People got to get paid. There are a lot of people working on the franchise, not to mention 2 other smaller studios working on things as well. It's just the nature of it. If you don't like it, you do not have to buy it. What I can also respect is not wanting to buy anything based on how year 1 of Destiny 2 has gone overall. If you're worried about the quality of Forsaken or of the future updates, don't buy it right now. Trust has not been rebuilt. How can I or you trust that Bungie has gotten their stuff together for this release, for future releases? We can't right now. We just can't. Bungie is still in the proving themselves phase. Just because what they had, what I'd call a pretty hype reveal, does not get them off the hook yet. They still need to deliver all of this. Forsaken needs to be on the level of Taken King, and then needs to maintain that level of quality for a long time. And even that won't be enough for some people. Bungie needs to deliver. If they do, then I think we're in good shape. That is the Forsaken reveal. Those are my thoughts. Please like the video so that I may gain more strength to overthrow all that do not heed my words like the tyrant that I am. Thanks for watching. See you next time.